Chapter 1. A Man's Best Friend. Many years ago, the dog was a wild animal. Every night he woke up and barked at the slightest sound. He felt unsafe and wanted to live with a companion. He decided to search for one in the forest. He first saw a large deer with huge antlers and thought,
"This deer is strong. I will be safe with him."
The deer agreed but warned him.
"You must be very still and quiet at night."
However, that night, hearing a sound in the bushes, the dog started barking. The deer said,
"You cannot stay with me because I am a weak animal and have to stay quiet and be safe at night. You better stay with an animal stronger than me."
So the dog went in search of a wild buffalo and asked for permission to stay. The buffalo too said yes. But that night too, the dog started barking when he heard a noise. Next morning, the buffalo asked the dog, "Why can't you be still and quiet at night?" The dog was surprised and said,
"You are a big animal. You do not have to be afraid even if I make noise."
"The tiger is stronger than me and he hunts at night. I have to be quiet or he will eat me," replied the buffalo and drove the dog away. The dog decided to go to the tiger and ask whether he could stay with him. The tiger agreed and said,
"But you have to be quiet at night."
However, like all other nights, that night too, the dog woke up on hearing some sound and began to bark. Next morning, the bleary-eyed tiger asked,
"Why were you creating such a ruckus last night when you had promised not to?"
Taken aback, the dog replied,
"You are such a strong animal. You do not have to be afraid of someone finding you."
The tiger shook his head.
"My friend, it is true that I am strong, but the elephant is even stronger. One toss of its mighty trunk can break my bones. You can't stay with me. You better go stay with the elephant."
The dog went looking for the elephant, who gave him permission to stay. But as usual, once again the dog started barking that night. In the morning, the elephant was angry.
"You startled me with your barking last night. The lion is stronger than me, and if he hears you barking like this, I won't be safe anymore. You can't stay with me."
Saying this, the elephant drove him away. The dog went to find the lion. He thought that it was the strongest animal in the forest and that it would not mind the dog barking at night. So, when night came, the dog barked, growled, and made a lot of noise. The next morning, the angry lion asked,
"Why were you making such a ruckus last night? My head aches because of your barking."
"The lion is the king of the beasts
The dog replied.
and does not have to be afraid of anyone."
The lion sighed.
"Yes, it's true that I am king of all the four-legged creatures. But I too fear humans who have only two legs. These humans trap or kill animals in the forest for their fur, flesh, skin, tusks, and sometimes just for sport. It is best if you stay as man's companion."
The dog looked puzzled and asked the lion.
"Are you sure that humans are the strongest?"
Replied the lion.
"Yes, they certainly are the strongest creatures on this earth."
Then the dog went to find a human being. He found a man lighting a fire to cook his food. The dog asked his permission to stay with him. The man looked at the dog, that wagged his tail.
"All right, you may stay with me.
He said,
But at night, you must always be alert. And whenever you hear or see something, you must bark very loudly. You will be my guard and warn me of any danger."
That is what the dog wanted to do every night. And this relationship suited them both very well. From that day on, the dog became man's companion, and while man sleeps, the dog watches over him and keeps him safe from danger. A folk tale from Myanmar. Bleary-eyed, sleepy. Ruckus, noise, commotion. Startled, to disturb or agitate. Growled, to make a deep, heavy, continuous sound. Alert, quick to see and act in a situation. Say aloud. Listen to these words. Then read them aloud. Circle the word in each sentence which has a different sound. Still, fill, will, kneel, drill, sill, dear, fear, peer, seer, fur, jeer, weak, tick, seek, meek, leak, peak,